Okay. Whew. Alrighty. Being an adult sucks. Just saying. I much prefer pretending to be an adult in a game like this. Right. So we are playing a main character who has grown up as best friends with this character, Cove Holden. And we are finishing up the last step. And the base game of our life, beginnings and always, is available for free on Itch and Steam, and the DLC for each step and the wedding DLC are available not for free. That's how they are able to offer the base game for free. And the reason this is taking so long is because I bought the DLC for the 3 steps. And I will include links to the base game and the Step 3 DLC in the description on YouTube when I upload it. And I've been adding each video to a playlist where I play for the whole game. And the playlist includes links to the base game and each DLC. And for the record, I am not getting paid to live stream these. I am doing this truly for fun because I enjoy sharing this. So please like, and if you want to see more content, please subscribe. There's usually a new video every Saturday. I schedule them that way. So it's usually about a week and a half after I actually live stream them, so they're a little delayed. And I probably will not get to the transition from Step 3 to Step 4 until next week, unless I really, really, really want to do that. Twitch will be discontinuing their desktop app, but I should be able to still live stream because I don't actually live stream through the Twitch desktop app. I use another program. Just means I have to monitor the chat some other way. No biggie. Anyway, here we go. Cooking. First, at the kitchen island, whiling away the minutes since your sister joined you downstairs. There's quite an adventure planned today. Eve was coming down near the Sunset Bird area as part of what she called a little trip. Apparently, she thought how nice it would be to go on a private boat trip this summer to celebrate graduation and everything. If only we had that kind of money. What might have been an idle dream for most people came into reality in Lee's camp. You've been invited along for the ride by your best cousin. And again, I forgot to grab my dice. Luckily, they're right by my computer, so it's not that hard to grab them. And it's kind of insane that she could make that happen. You were eagerly anticipating the adventure. That would be great to see her. The idea of being on a ship worried you a little. You were pretty mellow about it all. Okay. So, yes, there's 5 options. There's my D10. Where's my cursor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 4, 0. So it'll have to show up as on my dice. 2. You were eagerly anticipating the adventure. That's what I would have picked anyway. It wasn't every day, but you got to ride on a proper boat, let alone a private one. You were excited to get out on the water and see the ocean from a fresh angle. I have been on a boat out in the ocean once. I live in California myself, and I visited San Diego with a couple friends. And there's a company that offers harbor tours of the San Diego harbor. And basically you just tour around in a little boat, small motorboat, just looking at the various landmarks there in San Diego. And they offer life jackets if you feel necessary, which I did because I do not swim. I can doggy paddle, but not very well, and I didn't want to try it in the middle of the ocean. It was was the only one who was heading out on the trip. No just coming, of course. Your moms had been invited, but hadn't been able to find the time to squeeze in. Aw. And so the trip would only involve the kids of the family, a term that had stuck despite all three of you being adults now. Listen, to your parents, you will always be their kid. No matter how old you get, you will always be their kid, their baby. That's just how it is. Well, at least parents that actually care about you. Mom would have joked about cramping your style, but there was apparently plenty of room on the ship. We had been more than happy for you and Liz to bring other friends along, if you had wanted. But the trip out to Sunset Bird, then even further out to where Lee and the boat would be, just wasn't feasible for most people. Not many folks lived close by. There was naturally one person around who would always be there for the ride. So, we're just about to meet up with him outside. I mean, of course Cove is going with you. We had been glad when you told her he'd be able to come along today. Just as you were thinking about your cousin and her plans for the day ahead, your phone sprang to life. So yeah, if you are waffling about whether to actually get the game and play it, I highly recommend it. Even without the DLC, there's plenty of replayability. And what's great is if you can't afford the DLC right away, you can still play the base game. And when you do finally get the DLC, you can play through it all over again and see all the cool stuff that you missed. Once at the display, you saw the incoming call was from Lee herself. You answered it without pause. Hey.
Hi.
Hey. She goes straight into the topic, the trip meetup. You could hear the trill of excitement in her voice. I'm here now and everything is all set. All you gotta do is show up and we'll be off. Woo! She spoke quickly, animated by anticipation. I like her so much. Hooray! You echoed her enthusiasm. Great, can't wait to see you. Liz and Cove are definitely still on board too, right? Oh, hi. Yep. Wonderful. There's still a bit of time before you're due to set off. Is there anyone you want to extend a last-minute invite to? No need to keep the guests sparse now. It's not like we'll be bumping into anyone else to join in when we're out in the middle of the ocean. Ooh. Oh. Baxter. I'm really torn about. Okay. So, we're gonna go pick from one of these two. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, okay. Well, there's this new guy in the neighborhood I like. Invite him. Jules, we've got to see if he wants to come. I need to see who your new friend is. Alright, I'll do it. No idea if he'll be free, but I can try.
Talk to you
I'll
later.
let you go. I have to if I want to see you here in the flesh. Here, the last words dramatically making him sound more like a threat than a statement. Laughing, you shook your head. Lee chuckled along down the phone. Bye, Lee. Bye. Now that your attention was free, you looked over to the stairs to see if Woods had emerged yet, but there was still no sign of her. Some people just take a while to get ready. Me, just get dressed, brush my hair, shoes and socks, or maybe sandals, depending on the weather. I'm good. I do not do makeup. I don't really need makeup. I figured you might as well go out and see if Cove was ready in the meantime. Besides, you need to stop by Baxter's place to invite him along. This would catch up, you were sure. Send her a text. Grabbed your phone one more time to let her know where you'd gone. With that, you hopped off the chair and headed out the door. A sunny day greeted you. Shielding your eyes with her hand, you admired the sky. It looked like good weather for heading out on the water. That was something. You heard your name called and stirred automatically. That was the source of the call. He was standing halfway between his own house and yours. He waved at you as he walked over. Ran over to him. Waiting for him to reach you was unbearable, so you tore across the street to join him. Cove chuckled, tilting his head slightly as you bolted to his side. Hi. and I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but there is a DLC where he will use specific names, and if you pick one of the names on that list, hearing him say that name, especially if you're romancing, is just Hi, Cove. Ready to go? Cove nodded easily, blinking languidly in the sunlight. His mouth curved into a gentle smirk. First jet skis, now about what aquatic transportation device is up next for us. My mind's on a submarine. I've been in a submarine. Oh my gosh, these are so tiny. It felt claustrophobic even for me, and I am not tall. But maybe it's because I'm used to having the space around me. Even though I was bumping my head on stuff like someone who's 6 foot would, that was still, of course, the way the doors work in clubs, you have to climb over the. So anyway, you laughed. It's been an adventurous summer for sure. Cove grinned, pleased that he didn't miss you. Cove glanced away, chewing his lip with consternation. Is it really okay for me to come? Of course, you don't even have to ask, right? Cove rubbed the back of his neck, frowning as if trying to work it out for himself. It's just, I don't know, this is a really risky trip, and Lee's your cousin, not mine.
I mean...
True us, me and Lee are friends, maybe, but it's not like we've ever hung out on our own. I'm kind of worried I'm going to be out of place. She wants you there, I promise. Okay, you're right. Cove managed a small smile. The warrior hadn't lifted from his rigid shoulders, but you could tell that he was attempting to project a little more confidence. Oh, I can't wait to do this in my off-stream game. I'm gonna go, don't worry. Good. You were satisfied with that. And I meant to tell you, I'm gonna be inviting Baxter too. I've got to check if he's in now before we run out of time.
Huh?
Really? It was fun. He hasn't been prepared for any extra surprises. He shook it off, however. Alright, it's not like this isn't already gonna be awkward for me. He was joking. Mostly. I'll wait for you here. Okay, Cove. I'll see you in a bit. He strolled over to the condo Baxter was staying in and rang the doorbell. Hitting the button had you recall the time Liz dared you once before to ring this very bell and ding-dong ditch the mean old people residing there. I have never done that. Never ding-dong ditched anyone. I was with friends who did it, but I did not actually ring the bell and then run. It's just rude. It's not fun. It's just, I don't get the point. You haven't been up to the challenge, especially seeing how upset they made Cove for no reason whatsoever. Just for existing. Yeah, I don't understand people like that. It makes no sense. It had been a tactical retreat, you told yourself now. There is no winning with people like that. Exactly. People like that, people like Jeremy. Yeah, apparently Jeremy and Shallow are from one of the other games that these same developers have done. I don't know that I will ever play it, because it's not the sort of thing I enjoy. But yeah, if you go, I'm sure if you look them up on itch or Steam, you will see their other games as well. And I encourage you to support these developers. Even if you don't like this game in particular, maybe something else they've done will strike your fancy. Before movement could claim you, the door stood open. Baxter looked up, his head tilted in interest.
Nice to see you.
What a nice surprise. He put his arms over his chest, leaning casually against the door frame. Is there something I can do for you? Want to head out on a boat ride with my family and Cove? His eyes widened only briefly, before resting back to his usual languorous expression. It was either an impressive show of restraint, or Baxter's life involved more impromptu boat trips than yours. Perhaps both. I'm picturing that moment in Road to El Dorado where Miguel and Tulio are, I forget what it is, but they look at each other and they say, both? Both.
I can do that.
I'd love to. So you didn't have any plans already? That's great. To your surprise, Baxter's mouth curled into a little smirk. Yeah, when in my off-to playthrough where I'm romancing Cove, I simply told him, don't come by my place of work. My schedule is always open for an improved itinerary. I'm flexible, remember? Oh. He was not only agreed to come on the trip, but apparently canceling some other plan in order to make it happen. Baxter was certainly something. Honestly, if it were me, I'd probably start planning to hang around the house and, hey, go on a boat trip out in the middle of the ocean. That's more fun than sticking around the house, right? Thanks for keeping me in mind. I think this is going to be fun. He slipped outside. After securing the door behind him, he slipped out an arm and indicated for you to lead the way. The first stop was to collect Cove. He was waiting, as promised, where you left him. So, good to see you. Hi. There was still no sign of Liz. You took the opportunity to bring Baxter up to date on the plan for the day. Took in your words with interest. Only a minute or two more passed before the door to your house finally opened, Liz framed within it like a portrait. Unlike you, she had no need to shield her eyes with the hand in order to protect them from the sun's bright rays, as her hat was performing the job admirably. I can't talk, honest. I know how to pronounce words and everything. Better knew she headed straight over. She smiled warmly at you and Cove as she approached. Her attention then quickly turned to the group's new addition. Nice to see you again, Baxter. His eyes closed as he bowed his head in a nod ever so slightly. And the same to you. Living on the same street has given Liz and Baxter the opportunity to get to know each other over the course of the summer. Though she spent less time with him than you had, you'd anticipate that she wouldn't object to him tagging along on the trip. I asked him to join us today. Just as you'd expected, Liz didn't have much of a reaction to the change of plans. She merely raised an eyebrow.
Oh.
I feel like you and Lee will become fast friends, Baxter. Baxter smiled politely. With that, your little group piled into the car. It had been decided in advance that you'd all be heading over in Cove's car. I had to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Well, silent mode anyway. Then you set off for the journey down the coast to where you'd be meeting Lee. You wound down to the California shoreline with sparkling ocean waters on one side and craggy cliffs on the other. The world blurred by until eventually you made it safely to the large harbor. Yeah, there's no way you get, maybe you could actually board the boat by Sunset first, but there's probably regulations against that. Not saying I know for sure, but it would make sense that would not be possible. It was a far grander scale than the one near Mr. Holden's shop, both 2, 3, even 5 times larger with this. Liz took charge from there, calling up your cousin to guide you the rest of the way. Lee did her best to explain where precisely the boat was docked. Given that she was doing it without seeing where you were, and that it was an area she was only slightly familiar with herself, she did a pretty good job. Took a bit of fumbling, a little retrace of steps as your cousin and your sister had different definitions of orange. That was rusty brown, Liz had protested. But before too long, you heard her voice calling you, not from the phone in Liz's hand, but over the wind blowing out the ocean. Searching for the source of the sound, you found her on the prow of a ship, jumping into the air, and waiting frantically for your attention. You'd arrived. You have arrived! There's, much of a movie. Oh, I realize now, Land, the King of Thieves, so you're following the Oracle to where, the treasure is, and once the boat catches up, the Oracle says, you have arrived, and disappears. I don't know why that's what stuck in my head for me. You dashed from the bow over to the gangway where you boarded one by one. Hey everyone, I'm so glad you got here okay. You could tell even if she'd said nothing. Her bright grin as she saw you all stood loud and clear. Hi Lee. We're going for a full-on hug here. You wrapped both arms around her and pulled her tight against your chest. Smiling, Lee returned the hug just as tightly. But I like that you can define how physical the relationship is. Not just with Cove, but with anybody. You get to pick your boundaries even in the game, and that's really cool because not a lot of games do that. After greeting you, Lee turned to look over the faces of the others who would be joining you on your ocean voyage. Her attention was immediately pulled to the only one in the group that she'd not met before. Greeting, she approached him.
My pleasure.
I'm Lee. I'm so excited to meet the mysterious new man of the block. What a coincidence. I was looking forward to meeting our gracious host of the day. But I must confess, I'm not that mysterious. I'm rather open. I do hope that doesn't come as a disappointment. Not at all. I can appreciate forwardness. Welcome aboard. With that, she glanced over at the others.
Thank you.
Lee, thanks again for taking us on this lovely trip. Cove hovered awkwardly behind you and your sister. His was his broad sun hat. He was too tall, with your too small to hide effectively. He made fleeting eye contact with Lee, then looked away. You shy, baby. Hey, thank you for letting me come. The boat is cool. He chuckled nervously. Lee smiled, entertained by his bumbling phrasing. Hi, Cove. She giggled as she spoke, unable to hide her amusement. Cove lowered his head. There's one of the seasons of Great British Bake Off, there was one baker who was really super tall, all arms and legs. And he was talking about how you could hide at the back of the tent. And I'm like, dude, you are so tall, you cannot hide. Let's just pat a stone. We're all going to have a good day. Joe smiled weakly at you, his face flushed. You could tell that he appreciated your show of support, but was still embarrassed about needing the help. The floor seemed to give beneath you. As Lee whooped with delight, you realized that the ship had pulled out into the water. It had been so steady while it was moored that you had temporarily forgotten you weren't on solid ground. Now, as the boat rocked beneath your feet, there was no doubt you were truly setting sail. The little group dissipated into chatter or headed over to the railings to watch the ocean. You were ruffled by the breeze, which seemed stronger out on the water than it was back on the shore. The floor continued to rise and fall, reminding you of standing in a bouncy house while others jumped. Oh boy, motion sickness. Oh no. Let's stick with the first two options. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're curious about how this trip would go. Oh, that intend to hang out with Harry, Miranda, and Baxter. When Harry suggested going to see the fireworks, if you do go see the fireworks, there's an option to react to them similar to how you did as a kid or different. As you let your surroundings truly sink in, you thought today was shaping up to be memorable. We're glad that you've been able to join me on this trip. We can really get the party started now. Oh, wonderful. What did you have in mind? Well, the words hung in the air as your cousin stalled. It was clear that she didn't have something immediately in mind. Joe's eyes sparkled as he piped up. Can we get out of the boat, like go swimming around in the deep ocean? Sometimes you'd swear that boy was part merman, the way he was continuously drawn to the water. So Liz immediately quashed the suggestion.
No.
No. Her tone left no room for debate. Baxter chuckled, coming a hand through his hair. I prefer to stay on board, too. Sorry, it's not that kind of boat trip. It isn't supposed to stop anywhere. If someone did end up off in the water, the captain will put a Coast Guard on it. His shoulders slumped at the resounding rejection.
All right.
We'll still find something fun to do. Truthfully, there isn't that much we can do on the boat that we couldn't technically do back on land. I often take trips with my father on our boat. He always spends the time deep sea fishing. I'm not much of a fisherman personally. Activities that could also be done while not on a boat sounded excellent to me. Visibly bolstered by Baxter's support, we smiled warmly at him. Huh, my dad also takes me fishing sometimes. We do it on the docks by Dad's shop. I'm not good at it either. Baxter snickered. His expression warm as he looked at Cove. He appreciated the delicate attempt to relate, especially with how standoffish Cove normally was with him. That's the fate of sons with their dads, apparently. How lucky we won't be doing that now. Yeah. Liz nodded. There's nothing wrong with some non-nautical themed activities. We could play a party game for all I care. Yeah, we'll do a party game. I saw her brow furrow for just a moment as she mentally conjured possibilities that smoothed out as one came to mind. Oh, what about the one where something's written down and people give clues and one person has to guess what it is? Sure, I'd say I play a party game and I stand by it. Who's guessing first? Rock, paper, scissors. Oh boy. Yeah, rock, paper, scissors. The others blinked at you as you made your suggestion. His expression was skeptical. And how would we decide who took turns for that? The game that is supposed to decide who's taking the first turn in the game, we originally decided to play. Lee snickered, batting a hand in the air to brush away these minor details. Don't be like that. We'll make it work. It's a good idea. More games equals more fun. Together you agreed on an order to go in for this set of games, and the mini competition was on, with Lee and Liz facing each other in the first round. This was triumphant in that first game. The next challenger was Baxter. He and Liz went up against each other, and Baxter emerged victorious. Now it's waiting to see who would go against in the next round. Meanwhile, you were gearing up for a round against Cove. The winner would be Baxter's opponent. Cove stared at you with narrowed eyes. The minigame might not only be a bit of meaningless fun, but Cove meant business. You took your positions, facing each other as the others watched on. You raised a hand, curled into a fist, just as Cove did the same. And 3. Cove frowned, focusing intently on your hand, as if you might predict what shape it would make. 1, 2, 3. You picked. Definitely going to leave this up to dice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to do this in my auction game. 2. Paper! At the call of Creed, Cove's hand stayed as a fist. He'd went for rock. Jewel twins! Cove shrugged his shoulders, accepting defeat. He threatened the better of him that day. His session ended abruptly with a shake of his head as he refocused on what was ahead. Cove stole a glance over at the monochrome newcomer, then he met your eyes with a complete seriousness. You can beat him. We're gonna laugh. Cove was so invested and it was hilarious. Baxter watched your exchange with Cove and waited until an appropriate moment to approach you. His smile curled. Good luck. Good luck to you. Now we're riders who both raised your hands for the final game. The countdown began, and we're gonna do the same thing. Just over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope, that didn't work. 1. Rock. Just out of Baxter. After some surprise, Group goes out to try the round again. There was another countdown, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3. Scissors. And Baxter crushed it with rock. It was over. Cove's face fell right into his hands, all of Baxter's triumph. Baxter merely shrugged with feigned indifference. Oh, that's nice. I won. Who would have known? Cove still pounded lifted his fist just enough to get Baxter. Good job. He was willing to concede the win, even if he was sour about it. That made Baxter's grin return. It was a good game. You're not just Baxter Ward, you're Baxter Win. The unexpected pun made Baxter involuntarily snort in amusement.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jules. We shot Baxter an impressed thumbs up as Luke chuckled in disbelief. The actual game hasn't even started, people are already getting like this. The pointed look was aimed straight at Cove, who was still recovering from the shame of defeat. Pulled himself together completely after that. I mean, look at how competitive he was at Miranda's birthday party. Hey, you've gotten rusty with your party game skills, Jules. Liz slightly slapped his shoulder for that comment. He chuckled unrepentantly. With a devious grin, Lee picked up a pen and notepad from the bar counter. She twirled the glittery pen with her fingers. Lee clarified the rules after Cove raised a wavy eyebrow. Random words would be written down and folded up to give to another player. When it was someone's turn to be a guesser, they would show everyone else the words but couldn't look at it themselves. Yeah, I've played that before, and I was horrible at figuring out what the notes had been written down. The other players had to help the guesser figure out what the word was without saying it directly. Each person was left failing one clue. After all the hints were given, then the guesser would have to decide. She gave each guest at the mini party a piece of paper from her notepad. It was surprisingly thick line paper with a little starfish printed at the bottom. She glanced around to find more writing implements. She managed to dig up a short pencil with an old jelly grip on it, a ballpoint pen with the logo you didn't recognize, and a purple crayon. Baxter had a nice pen with him already, so he respectfully passed on Lee's offer. She turned to you.
Okay.
Here, pick one. The purple crayon. Of course! Pulled the crayon from the fan assortment of options Lee had presented to you. The crayon was a lot thicker than what you were used to. It smelled like kindergarten with a hint of those restaurants that used to give crayons with their kids' menus. After the random selection of words were determined and the papers were passed around, it was time to start.
All right.
I guess we know who's going now. Baxter fished his paper out from his ripped pants pocket and presented it to the group. Goofy handwriting spelled out the words, slide. Oh, kids like it. It's for kids. Kids? Lee bounced enthusiastically, holding out a hand to indicate the short height of children. Baxter nodded slowly.
All right.
It's at playgrounds, but not really small ones usually. The playground around our neighborhood doesn't have it if you've been there. He shook his head, still perplexed. Unfortunately, I have not. Dang. You've been into playgrounds before, right? Baxter had to pause to think on it. He shrugged.
Maybe.
In my elementary school, I did have recess, but we had sports fields more than the traditional playgrounds. For some reason, it's hard to picture you as a little kid. Well, I'd rather you not imagine that, so it all works out. No place up and grown his cheek as he puzzled out the game's conundrum. He popped his face absent-mindedly. It's slippery. You can't really walk on it. Slippery? Every clue left Baxter even more. He had no idea what the word could be. Let's go with this one because, Baxter, do you know how to do the cha-cha? The cha-cha slide? Oh, slide? That's it, slide. Baxter's founder and confidence returned their full force with a broad grin.
Excellent.
I got it. He put the paper over and traced his fingers across the word. He smirked at it. Thank you very much for the tip, Jules. This had you on the arm with approval because he's a dancer, and you remember that he's a dancer. So, that will help him. Since really he has no idea what he doesn't know. He hasn't played on a playground. So, had to come at it from a different direction. Nice one. You had the magic approach that time. You unfold the paper given to you, careful not to peek what he showed everyone. Liz leaned in closely with a thoughtful hum. As soon as Lee had a chance to read the words, she jumped up. Dog. There's a popular type of dog sometimes called that. It's for scientists to experiment some stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a secret location. Liz gave Cove an edged look. She probably thought it would confuse you. It can be used for photos as well. Lab.
Good.
That's it. You got it. Yeah, you nailed it. Everyone cheered. Liz gave you a round of applause. You looked at the paper and in neat, tiny handwriting you saw the word lab printed. I mean, Lee's who didn't really help, but Liz's is the one that really gave me the idea. Woo! We're thrilled that you got it. That round was a total victory. We should definitely keep this ball rolling. Cole flipped open his tape and showed it to the crowd. He kept his hand at the back of the note so he couldn't see the word even if light shone through it. The blocky, wobbly text read the word potatoes. Pursed your lips together as you thought what you could say. Snack! Liz turned her head with an incredulous expression while we continued your thought. He jumped up, pointing right at the paper Cove had in his hand. You put them in a sack! Cove blinked at Lee, deeply confused. Lee smiled back, full of confidence that he had come to understand her eventually. It's the major vegetable you use in croquettes. I don't know what that is. Really? Baxter was earnestly taken aback, as if Cove had just said that he'd never had toast before. Maybe we should change that. There has to be somewhere in this town that serves them, right? Liz cleared her throat, saving Cove from having to respond beyond his frown. It's that mystery toy with different faces and things. Cove tilted his head, utterly baffled at the different directions that everyone had taken.
What?
What's a mystery toy? Liz simply shook her head at his lack of understanding. This is your trick or try. Cove, forget the croquettes. French fries. He gave him a look, sending the answer right to him while filling in the blank Baxter had left. Potatoes! Or a singular potato.
Yeah!
You're right, yeah! Cove repeated it again with a bright grinning grin. Potatoes! Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. That was my first thought when it said potatoes. My first thought, French fries. Held his hand out to you for a celebratory high five. That would be funny if, like, to put a joke in your friend group that one person holds up their hand for a high five and the other one fist bumps it. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Fist bump. You fist your hand to your face without comment, and then a fist bumps you back. Thanks for the hint. I don't think I would have gotten it without that. You're welcome. Congrats. So let's go again. Suddenly the boat tipped forward before rocking back harshly. The ship must have gone over a bigger than usual wave. Liz held onto her hat desperately. We laughed at her immediate death grip. You never know what will happen on the high seas. Watch out, Liz. You wouldn't want to lose such a nice piper. You and Lee chuckled together while Liz stuck up her nose. Her sister was now smiling, and her hold had back in. That's what accents are for. The game continued with Liz and Lee taking their turns. It was such a good time that you all decided to play a few more games. It turned out to be the best guesser, although that could have been because you knew her well enough to give her relevant hints. Well, that's why you were able to give Baxter a hint that he understood, and saying let's go, because you knew Cove likes food. You just had to think about what kind of food Cove eats. Lee had to stop herself from answering the first clue she was given, but no one really minded. All in all, everyone was glad that Lee had suggested the game. No! Lee shot you a grin. Why don't we have some drinks? There's a bar on the ship. Cove tilted his head in disbelief. Lee continued gleefully.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff down the counter. I bet one could make whatever they can think of. This seems like an interesting challenge. There's lots of different juices and stuff. I think I've even seen strawberry puree. Pineapple. The carrot juice sounds intriguing. So, it's a juice bar? Yeah? Liz laughed and tapped Lee on the shoulder. You just said barley. I think you gave the wrong idea. Oops. Sorry for the disappointment, Cove. No alcohol is provided by the ship. That's why we're required to sit in the group they got today. I'm not disappointed by that. I didn't want to get drunk on a ship. I'm a little disappointed. I mean, you're on a ship in the ocean. Your balance is already going to be kind of, it's on a stable surface anyway, and then you add drinking on top of that, which impairs your balance anyway. Not a good combination. Lee breezed past that misunderstanding as though it hadn't even happened. I'm thinking I could mix them up and get something special. Anyone interested? Cove thought about it, intrigued. Liz smirked, recognizing the potential for chaos. That sounds like a recipe for disaster. It'll be a dream, trust me. So, who wants to make drinks?
What?
It was your idea. Why don't you do it? I've mixed drinks before. If anyone else wants to try, this would be a great chance. I'm a gracious hostess. Okay. Why do I keep doing my dice away? Stupid thing doesn't have a timer on it. No indication of how long we've been doing. Well, I guess I'll keep going until my voice gives out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Come on, Lee, you have to do it. I agree. With hopefully stated practice at drink mixing, I would appreciate seeing it demonstrated. Alright, I'll take care of everything. Push up her non-existent sleeve. It's gonna be super tasty. You won't have tried anything like it before. What are you going to make? Art. You don't have any idea, do you? Lee jokingly flipped her hair. True artist needs inspiration. Anyways, get comfortable, everyone. I'll be back. She stepped out of sight. Liz promptly took a seat on the lounge chair to put her feet up. Let's see what happens. Baxter pulled out his phone. He tapped away at it quietly. Your lounge chair was close enough so he could make out a game of Sudoku. I actually quite enjoy playing Sudoku. I'm bad at unscrambling words, or like Scrabble or Wordscapes, but I'm good at playing Sudoku because there's rules to it. Go chat and hush whispers with you, trying to guess what Jesus Lee might come back with. Kept mentioning the characters and wondered if he wanted some or if he was scared of it. This bited a few times, gleefully telling absurd-sounding drinks. You had no idea what Lee was actually making, but he certainly doubted it'd be sparkling fruit and artichoke juice. That does not sound good at all. After a few minutes, you heard the voice of the refreshment provider herself. Hey, everybody, come here. The others shrugged and you followed them to the other side of the deck. Lee stood behind the counter like a peppy bartender. In a perfect line, she had laid out a row of glasses filled with dark, reddish-purple liquid. When you got closer and sat down on the bar stool, you realized it was somewhat cloudy. Picked up a cup and swirled it around the glass. Light barely shone through its murky depths. Time to face the music. It's my treat for the tasting. Liz raised her glass, put it to her lips, and took a small sip. Not bad. Go boldly down to large swig and agreed with a pleased nod. Yeah. It's refreshing. Snapped his lips together before he took another measure of mouthful. Are there berries in here? Ooh, good guess. What is it? It's a grape and fresh strawberry mix with a few splashes of cranberry. Liz raised her eyebrows and took a slow sip, trying to taste the flavors. Grape, cranberry, strawberry? I don't think I would have guessed that. Well, I told you it'd be like you've never had before. Took a sip. You raised the chug glass to your lips and took a taste. The rich, thick drink lingered on your tongue. You could taste sweetness and slight sourness that had to come from the cranberry juice. That's pretty good. Cause I like that mix of sweet and sour. Not everybody does. We beamed at your reaction, took a triumphant gulp of your own juice. Contentedly, you all stood close together, some still holding their juice cups. Lee's eyes scanned the group, and she giggled.
Right?
This is so much nicer than having to rely on regular phone calls. That's that, right? Before any group was phone, Lee's eyes widened, so the corner of your mouth pulled into an amused smile. Not that I don't enjoy our chats from afar, it's just more fun to have things easier together. Absolutely.
That's fine.
We understand, and yes, this is a fantastic little party. Happy graduation to me, Jules, and Cove. That was followed by more tears in celebration of your high school careers coming to an end. We even lifted her glass to toast to it. When it settled down, your older sister had one more comment to add. And no one even had to fight over who gets to use the home phone. Lee threw her head back in thunderous laughter. The smile widened out your face. I remember that. All the times Elizabeth here was trying to push me into being less Gabby. She didn't mean to just stop so she could call her other friends instead. Hey, many teens have a too cool for family phase.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Luckily, it's all A-okay. I forgive Liz for being a teenager. That got a hearty laugh out of Liz. Got a quiet snicker out of Cove, too. Then Lee drank the rest of her juice down to the very last drop. She made her way to the table over by Cove and set her cup down. Actually, Phil watched Lee as his mouth pulled into a lopsided smile. Making these juice concoctions reminds me a lot of that smoothie business down at the mall. When they let you pick all the fruit that goes into it, that one's a good place.
Yeah.
It was the best, and exactly what I was channeling when I came up with this idea. I'm glad you caught that, finally. Sorry, I can take a while to get things sometimes. You all know that.
Mm-hmm.
Too true. You're sharp when you want to be, Cove said you for a moment, like he wasn't sure if he should take that as a compliment or not. But ultimately he sailed out a smile. The moment broke with the sound of Liz's quiet laugh. That was all it took to get Lee laughing, and soon after you all were soaking up the mirth of the moment too.
Well,
Oh, all that aside, we shouldn't leave Baxter out of the lead either. Everyone followed her lead and turned towards the guest for this summer. His expression softened as he shrugged one's shoulders.
I get it.
While it's true I wasn't here for these stories, I do enjoy hearing about them. It's nice to only listen sometimes. Cool. Really mature. Thank you. His gaze traveled from me to Liz, and then over to you. He sighed. My cousins aren't nearly as close in age as you are, and as an only child, I'm curious what that kind of relationship is like. Oh, I'm with you there. Only child solidarity. I have mentioned my siblings. I have 3. A brother, a twin sister, and a younger sibling. And so, even in the womb, I was never alone. So I don't know what it's like to be an only child at all. I put me to Baxter and then shot her with serious look. He tapped his arm. Alright, only child solidarity. A generous smile lit up Baxter's face. We clapped our hands together, pleased at the united front created. Sharing the same wavelength, you and Liz turned your faces to give one another a look. After breaking eye contact, she reached over and put a hand on top of your head.
thanks.
That's one for you 3. I'll keep Joel, thanks. The siblings there shouted into laughter. The others joined in as well. Hours were spent chatting away, sharing stories and favorite memories as the boat drifted out to sea. As time slipped by, the sun hanging low in the sky signaled that it was time to set sail back to the harbor. The more boisterous atmosphere from earlier had settled into a blanket of comfortable relaxation. Liz and Lee were absorbed in conversation, lounging around on the deck couch. Baxter sat across from them, nodding along, and every now and then you could hear laughter coming from the 3 of them. There were always smiles. Taking a deep breath of sea air, he sighed contentedly. Cove stood by her side in the center of the deck. When you were ready, you looked back to the deck and faces of everyone you spent the afternoon with. Never wanted to forget that view. Then looking out at the wide open ocean, you committed every bit of the moment to memory. Quietly thought to yourself, today has certainly been an adventure. Okay? One more moment. Happiness. Happiness. Now I'm thinking of your good man Charlie Brown. I know, I'm not, but I like that. Come back here. Okay, so it's been an hour. Do you think I would check the training when I start? Nope. Okay, happiness. The day and the week were nearing their end, and you were welcoming it in your own way, lying sprawled out on your bed. It was quiet in your house, getting out to that time of night where you really should be sleeping. You didn't feel tired at all. Usually, for me, that's usually because I'm playing on my computer. My dad had to remind me to go to bed earlier this week. He rolled on to his side. Outside, the last lit-up window across the street blinked out, leaving the buildings on the block faceless silhouettes against the blue-black sky dotted by stars. The phone came to life on the nightstand, a pale light cast on the ceiling of your room. Without looking, you threw your arm out behind yourself and groping around on the table until your phone was under your palm. At that point, you lifted it to your face, snorting once you saw the familiar name attached to a short message just reading, "Hey." Cove wasn't much for sleeping now either. As you made your fire, though, more and more texts came through in quiet succession. You like doing things. You like doing things with me. I mean, what I'm saying is that there are things you and I can do and we like together at the same time. Now that was eyebrow raising, you prop yourself up on one elbow, stand upright against the headboard so you could text more comfortably. You're right about that. Yeah? Without much to go off on, you said something short to show me you were listening. You're free for a while, right? When's your next shift? Not for a few days. Well, I thought so. I was just making sure. Alright. What if we did something new or sort of unexpected? Would you be okay with that? Something we haven't ever done together. You lowered your phone, leaning back against the headboard as you thought it over. The streets outside your window looked different at night, but you knew that if you were to wander out, there would be no chance of you losing your way. There wasn't a single inch of your neighborhood that you didn't know by heart. And everywhere you looked, from the back hill behind your house to the shops by the beach, you could recall a time you'd been there with Cove, mostly just chatting as you walked together. You don't mind every day, things like that, but as for something new or unexpected, let's gotten into Cove Holden to want to do something brand new. Hey, I'm not predictable. Am I? You are. Oh. Well, not right now. One by one, Cove began presenting his ideas, starting off with attending a play. We watched TV together in movies, but real people performing in front of us? We've never done that. I'm not sure what place exactly you're on right now, but that has to be an unexpected factor. There's a slight pause before Cove moved on to the next plan, visiting an aquarium. That makes sense, right? We go to the beach and stuff, we're very close to the water. But going to the aquarium would be in water in a whole new way. Third and last idea was the one that was most out of the blue. Ice skating. Ice skating? It was a total wild card as Go was playing it, and the polar opposite of what the dude normally did. However, it was fitting right in with the other options as something you had never done together. Let's say if hypothetically someone wanted to surprise you with an unexpected outing, would that be okay? You couldn't help but smile fondly at that, wondering to yourself who that someone could be. The joke that it wasn't much of a surprise. So I think I know where this is going. If you were giving him a hard time, you understood his apprehension in making this an actual surprise. Come on, really? Which is your favorite? It'd be... Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fine. The aquarium. It'd be the aquarium. You'd heard that in recent years, the aquarium has been making efforts towards conservation programs. Seems like a perfect, obvious fit for Cove. Alright, cool. Don't think too hard about this talk. It doesn't mean anything. You're freaking adorable. Okay, I need to pause here. I'll be right back. Okay. Like, you're freaking adorable. Don't say that. Good night, Jules. It's really late now. Yeah, it is. Night, Cove. And with that frost send off, you put your phone to sleep and lowered it with a sigh. You had no idea when Cove was going to invite you to the aquarium, but your mind was buzzing with all the possibilities. Excuse me. The coming days might bring. The phone went back to its place on the nightstand and resumed snugly into the mattress, one hand thrown to the side and the other shoved under your pillow. Somewhere between this day and next, you finally found yourself asleep. The next morning, after washing up from breakfast, you had just climbed the stairs to your room, ready to tackle the day, when you heard the ringing of the doorbell. You turned towards the sound, dangling your head in confusion. Was someone expecting a visitor today? Then again, you weren't even sure if anyone else was around, judging by the lack of footsteps you were hearing. You raced back downstairs to answer the door. As you pulled it open and saw who it was, you were only further confused. Oh? He was standing there with an unsure look on his face at first, like he didn't know who would answer the door, but the moment he saw it was you, the shy grin spread across his face. He raised one hand and gave you a little wave. Surprise! Don't you normally use the window? This is a surprise. Don't you normally use the window? I have to say that. I found it funny how you had grown so used to hearing him tapping that glass pane. Just showing up at your front door was what it took to get a reaction. Phil turned his head to his side with a considering lift in his eyebrows. I guess I do, but not today. I got you something. This hand out from behind his back, holding up the front of your face as he offered the present to you. Your eyes widened as you saw what it was. You can only look at your face, no doubt, a complicated mix of happiness and shock, so bled out of the laugh. Surprise, again. It really is. Hey, I just got an idea. If you're free today, would you want to go to the aquarium with me? It sounds like it could be fun, right? Oh my goodness, what a surprising and completely unexpected invitation. I really got you, didn't I? With the sport, you shook your head at him. Good, is that a yes? Even though you had just talked about this last night, there was still a hint of uncertainty in Cove's voice. Of course it is. With his big question asked and accepted, Cove waved the gift towards you again, gesturing with his other hand for you to receive it officially. Carefully took it from him. I'll put this somewhere safe, and then we can go. Cove had no problem with that. Still grinning, he stepped back, his body angling away as he waved a hand in the air. I'll get my car ready then. Meet me there. Okay. As the door clicked shut, you dashed upstairs to your room, prepping a spot first for Cove's gift. Then, satisfied with your efforts, you grabbed your bag, tossing in whatever else you thought you'd need for the outing, before heading back outside. Cove's old car was parked right in front of the house. You went straight to it, hopping into the shotgun seat. It's called shotgun because, in the bad old days, on the stagecoaches, when it was dangerous to go places, especially for banks, there'd be the driver, and then there'd be someone riding next to the driver with a shotgun to help protect the stagecoach, and that's why it's called shotgun. As you buckled yourself in, Cove leaned forward to watch you with an eager expression, his fingers tapping the dashboard to a lively sort of rhythm. He was ready to start, but trying to tone it down so you wouldn't feel rushed. I'm glad we're doing this together. Me too. Once your seatbelt was secured, Cove checked his mirrors to make sure the street was clear before pulling away from the curb. And like that, the two of you began your trip. Practicing safe driving. I approve. And I try to remember to check mirrors, but don't always. You settled in fully for the trip out to the aquarium in the city. It would be a bit of a drive, but you didn't mind. You made it a attempt to start a conversation. I have been ice skating once with some friends from work at the time. There's an ice skating rink a couple towns over from this. So, and I mentioned was that I'd never been ice skating before, so I went with a couple friends, and it was fun, and I only fell once. But I've been roller skating quite a few times, and I have rollerblades. I think they're in the garage right now. So it's not like I didn't know how to balance on ice skates, I've just never been on actual ice skates. It's kind of funny, we've never done this before now. Why haven't we? Well, I guess I've never thought about going to the aquarium with anyone before this. Wait, seriously? You have never gone to the aquarium ever? Yep, that's right, never. And not just a specific one either. I haven't been to an aquarium, period. Wow. Okay. Where is it? There's ID 4. I had them all bundled up together. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2. That made 2 of you. You haven't been to the aquarium either. We probably had other priorities for the road trips to the city. It didn't seem like a big deal that you hadn't gone to the aquarium. It still felt weird that Cole hadn't gone to the travel before. I mean, he has fish at home, and he loves the ocean, so why wouldn't he have gone to the aquarium? Yes, why not? I figured you'd have begged to go. Cole tapped the tips of his fingers against the steering wheel, his face wrenched in contemplation. When I was growing up, my dad did try to take me. I'd never been before because I was so little. I said no. Whenever he tried to talk about it, I told my dad I'd rather go to the actual beach on my own. Or he could at least take me to the fish bar at the pet store, but not the aquarium. Eventually, he didn't ask about it anymore. He must have figured I had something against it. When he stopped mentioning the aquarium, I stopped thinking about it. It just never came back to my mind. His expression shifted to what I think was confusion. The thing is, I don't know what I had against it, if I did have a problem. Maybe I didn't like the idea of seeing water I wasn't allowed to go in, or to eat fish I could never bring home. That sounds like the kind of thing little me might have gotten upset over. Or maybe I just wasn't okay with doing a new kind of trip. It'd be someplace new and with only my dad. Mom wouldn't be there anymore.
I guess.
I guess I might have made it seem not worth doing right off the bat. That's 8-year-old me for you. Joe shook his head with a pained smile. His tone dropped to a distant whisper. The only one thinking about stuff I could do with you that I finally remembered I could go to an aquarium. Oh. Well, this snapped into a bent smile and straightened his shoulders. He wants to bring the mood down. It all worked out in the end because I got to really surprise you with good news, huh? I'm excited we'll both be going there for the first time together. Me too. It'll be good. The conversation continued on with the adult chatter about what you do when you got there. Then the large, angular building decorated with ocean-themed cutouts came into view. You'd arrived at your destination. You hopped out of the car and headed over to the imposingly large guest entranceway. Cove's head swirled around to let his curious eyes take in every view, and you weren't even inside yet. You could see the realization of what he'd been missing out on dawn on him in real time. Cove bounced on the balls of his feet as the two of you stood in line to get tickets. His excitement continued to build. When you finally were face to face with the tanks, you could hear Cove quietly gasp from your side. He briskly took some large strides to get further into the room and get closer to the glass barrier. There he stood still. After taking a moment for himself, he whipped around to look at you. Cove was outright vibrating with excitement. His mouth opened in a large smile, but all that came out was tiny squeaking giggles. He bubbled over into full-on giddy laughter before he was able to speak in earnest. Each word was full of joy. It's amazing! I love it here! Of course you do. There's no way someone like you would hate a place like this. He drew back without hesitation. Yeah, the aquarium is great! He wasted no time before rushing around the place. He went every which way across the aquarium. He was enthralled by each new sight, his eyes alight like a kid in a candy store, and a perpetual smile made its home on his face. No metaphorical stone was left unturned. He viewed all the tanks from the tallest of heights on tippy toes catching a glow to the floor as he could manage. His exuberance was just as bright as his, buoyed further by how happy you were that he had found such happiness. He beamed. After making an entire trip to the whole building, you and Cove finally slowed the pace down. You had arrived back at the original viewing room. That's a good spot for a break. Cove stood quietly near the tank in almost the same spot as they had when he first took in the view. Somehow, that moment already felt like a long time ago. You weren't sure if he felt the same way. Cove simply watched the watery world beside with open fondness. He wouldn't get tired of that view ever, you were certain of that. You walked up to stand by him, taking in the same otherworldly experience of having a sea right in front of you. Hey, almost jumped, startled by Cove breaking the comfortable silence that had formed. He continued unabated. There are a lot of fish here. Yep. No. His mouth grew into a sly smile, one large enough that you could see it despite him still facing to the side. The thought also came to his brow. He was up to something for sure. If you were a fish, you'd be a royal bodyguard because you're so grand. Inspired against your will as silly fish being praised. Cove couldn't have pulled a more cove-like line if he tried, but he likely did. You have plenty of fishing knowledge up your sleeve to use for this tool. Well, if you were a fish, you'd be Sunrise Gussie, because you're my adorable ray of sunshine. Cove absolutely beamed at your praise and selection to represent him.
Thank you.
You're such a good fish friend. He'd smile at you, and it became impossible not to do the same in return. After that, Cove wanted to go around the aquarium again. You had to let it all sink in at a more leisurely pace while you were here. The two of you began your second loop down the path. It took no time at all to become absorbed in incredible sea life once more. As you walked, Cove stole a quick look at you after only having eyes for the fish for quite some time.
Hey,
would it be alright to try to choose this place? What made it the favorite out of everything? Doesn't matter why, I'm just curious. I picked randomly. I've always wanted to visit the aquarium. Oh, cool. You could tell Cove was feeling pretty pleased with himself by the way his eyebrows rose and his smile curved. One of his suggestions was something you wanted to do regardless, and he was considering that as success. There wasn't nearly enough time in a single day to satisfy Cove's desire to exist inside of the aquarium, but the day did have to end eventually. Despite obviously wanting to linger longer, Cove left the building with a skip in his step. It had been a good trip. The two of you shut the doors of Cove's car behind you as you took your usual seats. The click of his seatbelt punctuated the end of the adventure. I would absolutely do that again. No kidding? Cove chuckled as he pulled the car out of the parking lot, but spirits still as high as ever. Waiting to the drive, Cove glanced towards your direction. You stretched your arms as you shifted in the seat, waiting patiently for him to say what was on his mind.
So...
I know this was unexpected, but thanks for coming along. Any trip with you is a good one. Really? Any at all? Yeah, of course. There was a quiet pause where you contentedly watched Cove. It wasn't hard to imagine the blush that was likely trailing over his cheek. I'm glad. The drive continued in comfortable silence. Cove wore a content expression on his face that warmed your heart. Watching the passing scenery out the window, you relaxed into the seat. The time sped by. It wasn't too long before Cove pulled into his driveway. Sighing happily, you got out of the car while Cove came around to where you were standing. He stood there a moment, rolling a pebble under his shoe. See you tomorrow? Definitely.
Thanks.
After that, you and Cove parted ways for the rest of the day. Even when you fell back into your normal routine, your mind refused to stop buzzing with the memory of your adventure. Stop that. As you crawled into bed and closed your eyes, you were back in the best parts of today. You hoped Cove's surprise would continue just a bit longer and continue in your dream. After breakfast the next morning, you were sitting with your mom to the left. While you were mildly listening to the conversation, you saw your face squished into the palm of your hand. The doorbell rang.
Oh?
I get it. Mom passed by you to the front door. Your eyes lazily followed her and turned your attention to Mom and Liz. They were still lightheartedly chatting. You weren't sure about what. Your focus went back where your name was called from across the room. Hey, Jules, you have a desk. You're right there. On your way to the front door, Mom gave your shoulder a pat as she returned to the living room. When she moved by, you saw who was at the door. It was Cove again. His name stretched out across his face the moment your eyes met.
Hi.
Hi, Cove, sweetie. Instantly, you look over your shoulder to see Mom several feet away, both in eyeshot of the door. She waved. When you faced Cove again, he was looking at the ground shyly. It reminded you of the last time you had seen him the night before. That was all the push you needed to step outside, closing the door behind you for some privacy. What do you have up your sleeve today? Closing your eyes, you leaned your back against the door. You already had a good feeling about where it was going. I'm glad you asked. And Cove chuckled as he pulled out another gift from behind his back. Surprise, want to go to the theater with me? What? You blinked, then switched to staring at him in bewilderment. His eyes narrowed spiritually. Real surprised was I'm going to let you tell all 3 places. You never had to choose only one. I just need to make sure that it didn't sound completely terrible. The longer Cove spoke, the quieter his voice became. His shadows cracked up the side of his cheek. And to check if he'd be free. So, surprise again. You're so sweet! Thanks. Oh, do you like what I got you? Cove nudged the present in his hand towards you, hoping that you'd take it. But until now, you hadn't completely registered it. It was a carefully chosen ukulele case. You're doing so much. I feel a little bad. You don't have to. I'm not missing out on anything by doing nice stuff for you. And I think you should have these good things. You didn't tell me to do it. Okay. Pressing Cove, you pushed your worries aside. You took the gift and smiled softly. You're going to accept the other part, too? Yeah, let's go to the theater. It'll be fun. Elated, Cove bounced a bit on the tops of his feet. You could feel the happiness radiating off him in waves. Thanks for coming. I'll be in the car. You can go get ready. All right. You sped back inside as your family still sitting on the table. They all turned and smiled at you. So what's the plan for today? I'm going to the theater with Cove. That sounds so fun. Miles smiled, beamed. Your face went over to Liz, and she also looked happy for you.
Have fun.
I hope you have a great time. It didn't take you long to get ready and dash out the front door. I wondered about that. It's like the accordion thing didn't last that long. Wait. I was waiting for you as promised. We both set out for day 2 of his surprise outing. And this time, it actually was a surprise. So when I looked it up, there were 2 shows you could pick from around this time. One was a historical romance with nobility, fancy outfits, drama, and stuff. The other seemed like a modern-day story. Somewhere set near a lake and had a bed and breakfast comedy. Kind of wacky, I guess.
So?
What do you think? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. I'm gonna see the romance. Cool. I'm curious about what'll go down. What do you think the costumes will look like? Already your thoughts are busy trying to guess the historical setting. I haven't given you much to work with at all. I don't know. Luckily, we're gonna find out soon. Yeah.
All right.
I'm getting kind of excited. I wonder what it'll be like. I haven't seen a live play before. I have. And I liked it. Your eyes shone with delight, remembering the dazzling lights in the grand stage. The theater was a treat you certainly enjoyed. The rest of the drive flew by, and soon as you were at the theater with Cove by your side. Tickets in hand, you both went inside. Shuffling down the aisle, Cove on the right seat. You were getting settled when the lights began to dim. You made it just in time. Your voice came out in a whisper. That's like Cove. You saw him staring straight ahead with eyes growing wider with intrigue. Then the actors started coming out onto the stage. The show set the scene focusing on a group of wealthy families and the web of drama they entangled themselves in. And yet, despite the tension and chaos, 2 lovers emerged. The swift engagement drew nothing but disapproval from their friends and family. They expected that there would be several trials before the lovers could reach any kind of happy ending. This sounds very Shakespearean. I mean, it did inspire a lot of people. You became absorbed into the story and performances, and you weren't the only one. During the touching scenes, you could hear quiet sniffling coming from the seat where your longtime neighbor was. When the play finally came to a close, the audience broke into applause. Cove clapped for the actors until the noise died down. Then he spoke for the first time since the event began. It's over. Nodding, you followed Cove out of the theater. The sun was singing low in the sky. It was so much fun. I can't believe what a good time that was. But really, I might have to come back sometime to see the other one. He scratched his cheek contemplatively. I thought it was going to be harder to keep up with what's the phrase? Suspension of disbelief. Actors were right there putting on the show. I thought it'd be too much to believe it was really happening.
Not bad.
I felt more into it than with a lot of movies. I could totally picture the world they lived in. You nod along and listen to Cove's animated commentary. Still think about it, even though it's over. Imagine if that was us. Staying in high society parties and living in grand mansions, we'd have to deal with the rich and powerful and the politics or whatever that went along with it. Our families would try to force us to follow certain paths, but we'd still find our own way to each other and to the things we want to do. His stars in his eyes as he fantasized about the events of the story. Are you envisioning us being married like the couple in the story? He raised an eyebrow teasingly, but your tongue left little room for doubt that you were teasing. Cove laughed at your joke too, and it only made you snicker harder. His mouth pulled into a crooked smile. How do I know you're not the one imagining that? You're the one who brought up that part of it. Because I'm not. Cove raised an eyebrow and shot you a teasing look. Laughing, you shook your head. Go back to your daydreams. Let me know how the story turns out. A few quiet moments passed. You noticed a distant look on Cove's face. He shook his head like he was trying to send the thought away. What is it? Trying to really picture a completely new life in a new place actually feels kind of weird as I'm doing it. Not exactly sure how to explain. It's exciting, but also sad. I'm thinking too seriously about some idea, I guess, but if I don't remember anything from this world, it would be pointless that I had a life before. And if it did really happen, I probably would be surrounded by totally new people and I wouldn't have you with me anymore. Surprised a second of breath. Cove laughed shyly. The fun part of imagining it all was that you were there by default. Just getting to be somewhere else on my own wouldn't be nice no matter how cool the place was. It's settled then. I'll just have to look for you if I wind up having another chance at life or magically ended up in some other world. I hope you try to find me too. I see how it goes. My new life might keep me busy. You couldn't help grinning like an idiot at your own joke. Cove rolled his eyes. Thank you so much for your consideration. His voice was heavy with sarcasm, and it sent you into a fit of laughter. Cove turned away, feigning disapproval. He took a deep breath and stretched his arms high over his head. He then turned his head to your direction and pointed with his thumb at his star. We better get back to our real world now, huh? Wait, and I think we're the only ones still out here. Spun around, getting a good look at your surroundings. Cove was right. All the other cars that were out here after the show ended were long gone. How did I miss that? It surprised you how much you really lost track of everything for a while. You even failed to notice how dark it was until now.
Come on.
Let's go home. After that, you made your way into Cove's car. He sat close for your neighborhood, your legs felt stiff from standing still and talking for so long, but it was worth it. The car ride home went by far too fast. You and Cove were in good spirits. They spent the ride chatting and laughing, bouncing around various topics. So you didn't answer the question that sat all day in the back of your mind. Why was Cove doing all of this in the first place? Again, you both parted ways for the night in the neighborhood street. You watched Cove head inside with a quick wave. You were halfway to your own house when a familiar voice called out to you. Turning on your heels was by Mr. Holden. You lightly jogged over to talk. Hey, how are you? I'm good. Great, I was just getting home from work. What are you up to? Or rather, what were you up to today? Me and Cove went to the theater. You did, huh? Sounds fun. It was fun. It was also a surprise, which is weird, since usually me and Cove not hanging out would be what sounds surprising. Crossing your arms, you gave a quick laugh. Mr. Holden frowned. He rubbed the back of his neck and studied you for several silent moments. Right, so, Jules, what's going on there? Something is going on, isn't it? Huh, wait, what makes you ask? There's not a problem, right? To answer your question, if you answer mine. Deal? You rolled a pebble out of your shoe. Mr. Holden was probably the only person who could give you any solid insight to what Cove was doing. Alright, deal. What's the story? The truth is, Cove's been doing a lot for me lately, way more than usual. For 2 days in a row now, he's planned special outings in the gift, too. I don't know why. Cove's father nodded contemplatively. He accepted the situation easily. That actually makes a lot of sense, considering... Hey, is this something secret you shouldn't be sharing? In some senses, just please take it to your bottom lip. On the other hand, Mr. Holden chuckled. It's supposed to be a secret. Cove's been awful at hiding it. He's doing it out in the open, so I don't think that's what he cares about. Your head tilted just a bit to the side as you watched Mr. Holden. You were honestly curious what his side to this was. As long as it was all right to hear, you wanted to know. There's a pause. He's unsure of what to say next, or how to phrase it at least. Honestly, I've been a little bit worried about Cove lately. He's gotten really up in his head about something. But it's not exactly a bad thing. Just have to know how to even bring it up. I'm not sure if I should try to have a talk about it. The longer he spoke, the wider your eyes grew with concern. There was more happening than a few meaningless hangouts. It's okay. He raised his hands in a calming motion when he noticed your reaction. Let me explain. I noticed Cove's been getting lost in thought more often recently, and he sometimes has his laptop out in the living room. He leaves it laying around on the couch or puts it on the coffee table. I have a clear view of it from there, and I can honestly see him looking stuff up on it. Cove keeps searching one phrase, and different wordings of it, too. Then he'll spend ages clicking through the linked results. That is, how do you make someone happy? Just that, again and again. Yeah, just say it. Consciously close your mouth after that. He didn't know what to even say after hearing that revelation. Mr. Holden gently beamed. Isn't he such a good kid? Continued, but his tone was rueful. Fortunately, I can relate all too well to that conundrum. Who am I to judge, right? Mr. Holden shrugged in an exaggerated way to lighten the mood back up. Before, I was thinking Cove might have gotten into a fight with somebody. Now it sounds like I was way off the mark. Cove clearly has other plans on the brain. I'm even more confused on whether this is something I should get into or not. You know, actually, I was wondering if you could have a little chat with him about what's going on. Sounds like you're at the core of Cove's set and stay section, so he might feel more at ease talking about it, or more embarrassed, but he'd still probably do it. I would really appreciate it. The gaze straightened over to the Holden residence. Mr. Holden made a very good point, he had to admit. I'll do it.
Good kid.
Thanks. You're also a really good kid. He shook your head with a smile and started walking towards where Cove lived. After a few steps, she realized that Mr. Holden wasn't following. He glanced back at him. I'm going to hang out here for a bit. Make sure you have some space to talk without a parent in the way. The door's probably unlocked, so go right in. Okay. He hesitated for a moment. Mr. Holden's smile faded. Thanks for talking with me. This has been on my mind, too, and I think it'll be good to ask Cove if everything's okay.
Absolutely.
Agreed. It'll all shake out right in the end, I'm sure. Mr. Holden grew much happier than he was a moment ago. Feeling ready, he turned right around and went into the house. Hey, I was sitting on the couch with his aforementioned laptop open. Picked up at you with a puzzled look, and then it melted into a smile. Hey, you were my dad. Did you forget something? What are you doing on your laptop? He asked the question simply enough while pointing at the computer. Cove's eyes dipped down to the screen. Nothing, really. Where are you here? Boy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Button. We need to talk about something. Okay. Cove closed his laptop and laid it on the couch cushion next to him. He got up, shuffled past the coffee table, and stopped right in front of you. Spoke in a hushed tone, only hearable because of the new closeness. Is everything all right? You tell me. I heard from your dad that you've been fixated on the idea of how to make someone happy. Why? Is anything wrong? Notice that? Are you mad? No, I guess I really was distracted. I didn't think people around the world would actually be paying attention or taking note of things. He chuckled awkwardly at himself. So, will you tell me why you felt like doing that so much? Jules. I looked at you with large, earnest eyes. I did it because I wanted you to be happy. I knew it! I knew it! You don't have to do some big, expensive surprise for that. You could just be yourself. Ralph stuttered out another laugh, and then the tension in his shoulders eased. Thank you for thinking that. For telling me, I don't know. He's completely frazzled on what to say. His rambling put a grin on your face. His gaze fell to the floor, and he defaulted to rubbing at his arm.
Sorry.
I wasn't trying to make you or Dad concerned. I didn't want to upset anyone. Sorry. Don't worry, no one's upset. Cove took a deep breath. You could see his expression lighten, but he still was lost in thought. What made you start doing all this now, of all time?
I don't know.
With a deep grin, Cove looked back at you and repeated the phrase. Each time the inflection was different, like he intended to say something different, but was coming up with the same non-reply. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know anything. He ran a hand through his hair, trying to understand his own motivation. I guess maybe with everything that's been happening and everything that's coming soon, it's hit me that we're neighbors. Quick sort of air came out of your nose from his conclusion. Yeah? I mean, you've lived right across the street from me for 10 years. The only other kid who grew up in the same neighborhood is your oldest sister. His weak smile bent. And then there's our parents. They sure were putting in the effort for the two of us to get to know each other. My dad literally paid you to be my friend. Joe shook his head with a laugh. His gaze was far away as he nostalgically reflected on the history you had. Basically, everything in our lives was set up for us to be together. It was always effortless. And why not? It practically went without saying that we'd be around each other, but it won't be like that forever. Our parents can't always be there to raise things, so we can't live in a little world of this street forever. Do I even know how to make it work when I don't have every advantage possible? I've made you happy in the past, but could I keep doing it? What even is it that I do that makes you happy? He started to run a hand through his hair again, but he stopped partway through. He looked at you earnestly. It was like breathing. When you're just going through life, you do what you're doing without even thinking. And then something reminds you that you're breathing, and you become way more conscious of it. Being with you is the same. I do what I normally do without pondering deeply on it. But now all this stuff made me start thinking about it. Then I couldn't stop thinking about it. I felt like I needed to try harder, to make an effort for you, for the relationship we had. I had to, and, well, that's what I did. Closed your eyes to the back of his neck. He looked sheepish now. It seemed like such a good idea in my head. It made complete sense, but maybe it was done. Let's give him a hug. Rushing into Cove, you wrapped your arms tightly around him and buried your face into his neck. You nearly knocked the air out of his lungs moving so fast, but Cove soon recovered and held you back. Stepping back, you took a deep breath. Cove shifted how he was standing and watched you bashfully. You know it's okay to tell me when you're feeling like this, right? You watched him with pleading eyes. You didn't want him to keep things like this himself. Nodded carefully. I'm glad. I'm here for you. So we're best friends. Even if us meeting is thanks to circumstances out of our control, that doesn't matter. It's close because of who we really are. We found something in each other that made us want to be together. Nothing can take that away. There's a pause where neither of you were certain who was going to speak next. He scribbled.
Wow.
Thank you, Jules. Thanks for looking out for me, even when I didn't even notice I was doing something worth checking in on. You're amazing. Someone has to do it. Cove narrowed his eyes so paranoid, but there was no amount of pretending that was going to extinguish the happy look on his face. Your mouth curled into a smirk. Cove chuckled. Now that everything was out in the open, his words were lighter. I gotta thank my dad, too. I can always count on him to be around. There's such good people in my life. Smiled softly. Cove withdrew a bit, looking shy. Can I still show up tomorrow and invite you to the last surprise outing? That'd be just fine. I'm looking forward to it. You knew that you were smiling like an idiot, but honestly, you didn't mind too much. Spending time with Cove was the easiest thing to you, and the feeling was mutual. Cove watched you with earnest eyes. He simply wanted to spend time having fun with you. I can't wait. All right, you should probably go home, huh? It's getting late and you'll need your rest. He looked at you, attempting to feign an innocent expression. I mean, what if something just happens to happen tomorrow? He laughed at Cove grinned, acknowledging his poor attempt at subterfuge. Good night, Jules. Night, Cove. You rest up, too. He headed to the front door, waving his coat saw you out. When you were left to the street, you noticed Mr. Holden was still standing out there. He looked up at the sound of the door closing behind you, his phone in hand, and nodded to sense up the situation.
Oh?
You were in there a while. I hope that's good news. Thanks for letting me know about this. It's all better now. Great. Glad to hear it. Everything truly resolved. You exchanged good night wishes with Mr. Holden before continuing the very brief trip home. Not wishing to disturb anyone, you quietly stepped inside and gently pushed the door closed behind you. You clicked into place with a minimum of 5. You let out a sigh. Your mind buzzed as you climbed the steps up to your room. Cove had done so much just to make you happy, and you know he'd be back tomorrow with another big surprise. Going to prepare a gift to surprise him with, too. Cove has brought you 2 gifts already, and odds are a third was coming. It's time to turn the tables and have something ready to get him. This hour, that was easier said than done. Most stores were long closed, and the Cove would be here bright and early to surprise you tomorrow morning. That ruled out purchasing a gift out the way he'd done for you. Luckily, you've known Cove long enough to see a solution to this problem. Your neighbor was always a happy boy when he was given food. I'm sure you could rustle something fitting that description out of the kitchen one way or another. Feeling invigorated, you spun around and sped back downstairs. It was time to put your plan into action. had a decent cook, you could make something he loved. Besides, up to your options with an early start, you'd be able to pull together something simple in the morning. If you wanted to go for something more elaborate and time-consuming, you need to do it right now. There's also the option of rallying the troops. Your moms knew how to cook wonderfully, and you could easily persuade them to give you a hand with this. Pardon me. Yeah, I think we're going to have to wait till next week to make the transition from step 3 to step 4. Do it alone. It's for the best. Banana peanut butter and honey sandwiches. I'm pretty sure Cove made them. Remember how back when you were growing up, Cove would attempt to prepare his own food. He kept to very basic things. That particular sandwich had been a firm favorite of his. He'd be thrilled if you presented him with a classic like that. Sandwiches would taste best fresh. That was nearly always the case. So it's Cove's favorite food, there's a high chance of them going soggy if left for too long. You have to get up extra early, setting an alarm on your phone so that you have plenty of time to make them before he arrived. Dust it off your hands, satisfied with a job well done. With your mission accomplished, you head back up to your room. Pick this up slightly, feeling relieved as you imagine how happy Cove would be with your unexpected gift. Cove was working so hard to make you happy. You dearly wanted your friend to be happy too. You could only hope your efforts would work as well for him as his plans were working for you. You were up early the next day, ready and waiting for Cove's inevitable appearance. The alarm had gone off not too long before, and roused you ahead of your usual schedule, allowing you plenty of time to make the sandwiches fresh. Making them had truly brought you back to your younger days. On called the blazing heat of summer afternoon, the very first experiences of teenagedom, and a familiar neighbor always showing up at your house. But there wasn't time to get lost in a daydream. You had just finished packing the finished product up. Your ears were perked, listening for the doorbell, but instead what you heard was the familiar rapping on the window pane. There was no need to look to know who that was. Only one visitor used your window as his personal entranceway. Getting up, you headed over to let him in. You gazed into your neighbor's face. You unfastened the window, opening it wide. He smiled at you, still crouched on the window ledge. Surprise? Joe's laugh was as airy as cotton candy sold on the boardwalk. He was in good spirits. Yeah, surprise. I'm really keeping you on your toes. What will I do next? You waggled his eyebrows at the joke, and he stepped back to let him enter the room. Today he clambered through with extra difficulty thanks to the object he was clutching securely. You guessed it was another gift. Let's wait for him to bring it up. Sure, he'd know that you'd seen it and had probably reached your own conclusions, but he'd worked hard on his surprises. He wanted to play along. Cove smiled sheepishly as he held out the present to you. A bit of flair, he flipped open a folded glass. It turned out to be a t-shirt emblazoned with the logo of the college you'd apply to. You'll be needing this. Your application's going to be accepted for sure. His eyes were trained on you, searching for your emotion on it. Yeah, I applied to 3 colleges. 3 4-year colleges, and they all accepted me, so it was just a matter of deciding which one I wanted to attend the most. I hope you like it. Hugged him. Threw your arms around him and hugged him tightly. Cove nuzzled your head, still holding your present carefully. This means a lot to me. He chuckled self-consciously as he gave a long look at the meaningful gift he had selected. It was as if it was growing heavier in his hand. I really do support your goals. I just want you to know that. Yeah, I know. And you accepted the thoughtful present as your own grasp. Only once you transferred ownership and cemented it with your approval did Cove straighten up and pull himself together.
Well...
Okay, well, would it be alright for me to take you out today? We could, I don't know, go ice skating? You were already anticipating that you'd say yes. Only as long as it'll make you happy, too. His expression brightened further. That was exactly what he hoped for.
Thanks,
Jules. You were glad to see how happy your acceptance had made him. But before Cove could whisk you away on another big outing, you made your own move. The surprise would be better now than when you got back late at that night. Actually, before we go, I got something for you, too. What? Really? It was amazing how surprised he was. Cove had spent 3 days raining gifts and special trips on you, but he hadn't at all counted on you doing something in return. What is it? Stay here for a second and I'll show you. Okay? Usher expectantly as you turned around to head downstairs. You reached for his banana, peanut butter, and honey sandwiches were waiting and collected the prize. As you flipped back around to your room, gift in hand, there was a smile playing out across your face. Cove was patiently waiting where you'd left him, tapping his fingers against the sides of his pants. I hope it's enough for a going boy like you. So perked up at your words before he'd even had a chance to see what the present was. You got me food? He laughed. You definitely called it, but he appreciated this gift. You handed the gift over for his inspection. His eyes widened as he saw the treat. I whipped this up, just for you. Is this? Even from a cursory glance, Cove instantly anticipated what kind of sandwiches were waiting for him. He picked one out and took out almost a third of it in one bite. His mouth full, he couldn't comment on the taste with words, but the satisfied noises he made indicated positive review was coming. You like it? I could take a guess, but it'd be nice to know for sure. Cove kept chewing, gesturing apologetically to his occupied mouth. Finally, asked what felt like an age, he swallowed. It's amazing, Scott, with peanut butter, bananas, and honey. It's just the way I like it. I can't believe you remembered. That's incredible. He chuckled, recalling those moments long ago that we spent together. How can you not remember days with a guy like him? Cove wiped his mouth with the back of his hand, now a little calmer after the initial burst of excitement. He tuned his head into an easy, warm affection.
It's nice.
Thank you for this. It's so nice of you. I'm glad you like it. He blushed from his face. The features softened, and he felt like you were being thoroughly appreciated. My soda is more water than soda now. The food you gave was also getting his due attention. He'd already gone in for a second serving. He couldn't claim his indulgence. That said, the amount you'd given him was enough for several servings, far more than even Cove could usually finish at once. He made sure of it. But as he continued to devour it, you were starting to suspect that polishing it all off was the goal. By the generous portion, he was willing to try and eat it all in order to show you how much he liked the present. Maybe this is a bad idea after all, he joked. Next time I'm only bringing you a sample size. Cove pouted, his mouth still full. His cheeks stuck full like that, he looked like a mildly reproved hamster. Cove finished his third bite and let out a satisfied sigh. All right, I'll stop for now. There is other stuff to do, and I can have more later. Smiled at him, relieved that your gift could be enjoyed and not inhaled. You clapped your hands, signaling that your diversion has come to an end. All right, now we can head off for your surprise, too. Cove laughed. Yours was a better surprise for sure. It was a real one. But yeah. He grinned broadly, as if the exchange had fired him up even further. I'm definitely going to take you out now. Cove offered you his hand. He welcomed it. You took his hand in yours, palm to palm. Cove squeezed your hand before heading out the door, guiding you along. Hand in hand, you walked down the stairs together, out of the house, and into the neighborhood. Cove's car was parked nearby. He unlocked it, allowing you to reach your regular spot in the passenger seat. Cove paused to put what remained of his present safely away before hopping into the driver's seat. Set it off, beginning your trip to the third and final activity of Cove's grand happiness plan. Now that you were sitting down for the drive, it felt like a good moment to regain your bearings. Dragged your pack onto your lap and began thumbing through your things to make sure that in your hurry to leave you hadn't forgotten anything important. Just normally, but pack some extra layers. With the jacket stuffed in there, your bag had taken on lopsided sort of bulk, awkward to carry around. You zipped it close again, and Cove began to speak, raising his voice to be heard over the ambient noise of the car ride. So I'm kidding, this is going to be crazy. Having fun with water that's frozen? Unheard of. He chuckled at his own joke, and you shook your head at him, though you couldn't help grinning at his silly comment. Who knows? Maybe in colder places it's the opposite that's weird. As you looked at him, you caught a glimpse of the back seat. It's empty, which wouldn't be strange any other day. You didn't bring a jacket? Nope, you know I hate extra layers, and there aren't any parents around to force me to do it now. Yeah, your parents can't tell you what to do. You're a big boy. Cove gave you a brief glance, smiling. Thanks for understanding. You laid your arm against the window, the scenery outside passing by in a border, until finally you arrived at the ice skating rink. The two of you grabbed your things and got out of the car. A wave of heat so thick it felt like you were swimming in it hit you as soon as you set foot onto the sun-hot asphalt of the parking lot. Cove stepped next to you, dragging the back of his arm across his face. You and Cove exchanged looks. Well, here we are. Smiles interesting. The skating rink was a large building of glass and concrete, with the same plastic and simple white letters above its entrance. The nondescript flat rooftop-style architecture reminded you a bit of the local mall. You went in. As the door shut behind you, you heard Cove's sharp intake of breath. Glanced over at him, seeing the stun look on his face, his lips drawn tight in a frown. Really cold in here. Are you gonna be okay? So Bob just head up and down, wrapping his arms around himself. Yeah, when I went ice skating with my friends, I took a jacket, but I went with a guy and a girl from my work, and he didn't wear a jacket, and I asked him about that, and he said that he'd be fine once he starts skating. That would keep him warm. That's fine. I'm fine. We're still gonna go have fun. Don't worry about it. He gave you a smile. That was probably meant to reassure you, but it wasn't very convincing when he was speaking through chattering teeth. What about you? How are you feeling? Wish I brought even more layers. Not just for yourself, but for Cove. You had your jacket set up out of the way, but you felt chilly seeing him hurling into himself and shaking like that. It's so cold. Your neighbor shuddered dramatically, almost retracting his head into his shirt in his renewed effort to keep warm. You held on to him for mutual warmth. You awkwardly shuffled towards Cove, peeling your arms off yourself and thinking them around him instead. For a second, his body went even more rigid, but he quickly relaxed and gave you a self-conscious smile.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jules. I'm happy to. His shy chuckle shook through his abdomen. He felt it on the side of your body right before he put his arm around your waist and pressed you even closer, an unspoken sign, but he had no problem with it. Like this, the two of you ambled over to the rental car together, a slightly awkward process that had you unsure if you were going forward or sideways. The clerk ended up giving you two funny looks over the tops of her glasses as you went through the process of paying for admission and finding skates from your shoe sizes. But throughout it all, Cove didn't shiver once. Eventually, you had your skates. It was a particularly well-worn set. Still sturdy, but where it had once been blue, it was now faded, and where it had once been white, it was now closer to tan. With some time and a low bench, you both stood up with the rented shoes and now stood by the opening to the rink. It was an oblong shape, surrounded by a paneled wall with rails. You were a little amused to see that there were others dressed in t-shirts and shorts, and you turned to Cove to point it out. The answering laugh that came sounded a little distracted.
Well,
here we go. Tentatively, he took a step out onto the ice. The series of movements that followed were reminiscent of a jack-in-the-box swinging back and forth on its spring. You thought you might laugh, but it died in your mouth when for one heart-looking second, Cove's upper body tilted forward at a 90-degree angle. Hand shot out, flapping against the ledge, running along the plexiglass panels on the side of the rink. A relieved sigh led us to both him and you. He was mumbling to himself as he craned his head back. He must have got the alarm on your face, because he gave you a smile as shaky as his footing. I'll make it work. There's my keyboard. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow. You've never been ice skating before now either. You came forward to join him and 1, 2, 3, 4. 2. You did just fine. You slid out into the ice, managing not to peckle or trip on it way. It's kind of amazing we're seriously ice skating right now, but this is what we decided to do. I should stop being surprised over everything. Let's skate. Great, let's do it. Then we developed a cautious rhythm, drawing long, slow circles around the edge of the rink side by side. He made sure the pace never exceeded what Cove was capable of. He was happy to let you guide him, even pointers while making small strides. Sometimes he'd take breaks and settle down and give you the chance to flex more of your skills on your own. He seemed to enjoy that just as much as attempting to skate himself. Light puffs of air released from you and Cove as you laughed and cheered each other on for any achievement. There was also still plenty of moments spent clinging onto each other for added warmth against the unrelenting chill of the space. I slid right past you, and just like that, it was suddenly time to call it a day. After returning the borrowed ice skates, Cove and you ventured back out in the California air. Even though the sun was almost upon the horizon, it was still palpably warmer than inside the rink. Cove rushed over to his car, and his shivering hand clutched to yours. Let him pull you forward in his mad dash to the vehicle. Doors were open and closed, seats were taken, the engine switched on, and heat turned to max. At that, Cove finally relaxed. Your foray into the freezing cold had ended, and nicely at that. In the return leg of the journey, you felt Cove lapse deep into a world of thought. Typically, even when conversation was exhausted, his eyes would flick to you occasionally with distinct smiles and other such gestures. This time his focus was split purely between the road and the recesses of his mind. But as there was no sign of trouble on his features, So you were happy to let him roll over whatever he needed to in peace. The trip drifted by in a comfortable silence. Before long, you were back in the neighborhood. You each left through your respective sides and Cove stepped around the vehicle to stand with you. Wordlessly, he gestured to your home. He was intending to take you there. Perhaps you thought the trip wasn't truly over until you were literally inside your house. You could tentatively continue to go with Cove on his whims, and you went inside. Once under the light of your living room lamp, his eyes locked onto yours.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jules. I know all this was a lot, but I really did have so much fun. He grinned in an almost conspiratorial way. I really did it. This whole entire dumb plan of mine. I was happy it all became a reality. I hope you're happy too. I've never been happier. The smile he wore was a small, even restrained compared to some of the friends he crashed earlier. He was imbued with a calm, comforting contentment. In this moment, he was as joyful as you'd ever seen him. Jules, can I ask you to go along with one more surprise? His voice was gentle, even as he implored you for a little more. The question itself was a surprise. Another? I could hardly believe that there was even more hidden up his sleeve. Cove chuckled quietly, nodding his head ever so slightly. A new one. I think I don't want to go home already. Not yet. I'm going back to over usual spot. Sounds fantastic. All this new stuff we went through. I'm not ready to let you go yet either. I've learned you've got a weird definition of surprise over these past few days. Coming from you at a quest like that isn't a surprise at all. You smiled brightly back at him. Yeah, you're right. I'm bad at surprises. What a surprise. The two of you laughed together over the silliness of this entire mini-adventure Cove had concocted. Thanks for saying yes anyway. You walked down your usual path side by side. You trotted the same path many times. By all rights, the novelty should have been long gone, but you found fulfillment in every step you took. You were sure you always would, with Cove supporting you along the way. Whether he was near or far, it didn't matter in the end. He would always be there for you. With this plan of Cove's drawing to a close, you might have expected to feel a little wistful. It had been an exciting few days, but there was no need to yearn for what had gone. After all, you knew that the two of you would always find new ways to bring a smile to the other's face. So you both did, and you were looking forward to new surprises already. And that's it. That's all of the moments. And I can hear that my voice is getting tired, and we're getting on 2 hours. So we will finish this next week. So thank you for coming along on this ride with me. And there will, as I stated earlier, there will be links in the YouTube description to GBPatch Games and the Step 3 DLC. And next week we will make the steps move from Step 3 to Step 4. And it's my understanding that there won't be moments in Step 4. But as I've not played this before, I don't know what is coming. That's kind of the fun of doing this live. I'm just as surprised as anyone who watches this. So, as far as I know, I should be able to stream on Wednesday next week. Oh wait, stop. I had something written down on my plan that got changed. Okay, yeah, so as far as I know, I should be able to stream next Wednesday. If you're watching this on YouTube, that doesn't matter anyway. Yeah, so everyone take care, and please support these developers in some way. And I will just see you next time. Bye.